with hints of a huge AEW debut and more. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Recalling how he nearly made his AEW debut last year, Rob Van Dam told Chris Van Vliet, "I was at a convention in Hamburg, Pennsylvania, Legends Fest, and I got the message about coming back to AEW, you know? Hey, can you do the 23rd in Grand Rapids?" Interestingly enough, last year at this exact same time, they messaged me with that, September 5th actually, and that's when I got the okay to do it. It was like a year ago, and then I did it. But some time had passed then, but that day was, near Battle Creek. Yeah, from Battle Creek, hometown boys was, so obviously same idea. Again, that'll be cool. It's 1 week before I'm going to be doing my show in Battle Creek, which those guys have been working on that for like a year, promoting it, and it's a big full circle return home. And then just the week before, they put me in Grand Rapids, which is just right down the street. Communication dropped is why I didn't debut for AEW in 2022, so that's it. Sometimes that would happen. Sometimes. Both of the companies over the years, every once in a while, would call just to check out my schedule. I don't hold it the date, I hold it in mind skeptically as a possibility, and that's all because I know how it works. But that's how it works. Never hear from them again, and then it's like, well, alright, whatever, I can hypothesize. I wonder what did I do, but I'm very stoic, and a part of stoicism is really being able to accept things as they are and just let it roll right off my shoulder. Mentioning the likelihood of him re-signing with AEW, commentator for the company Jim Ross said on his Grilling JR podcast, "Tony Khan has answered a lot of my prayers and hope to continue working for AEW for the foreseeable future as our goal." That's Tony's goal. That's my goal. Tony and I had a nice chat about my contract last week at TV, so things are well in that regard. I'm sure that between Barry Bloom, my agent, the legal department at AEW, they're going to get something worked out. That's my belief. I'm being positive and optimistic, so this is the best scenario for me that I can imagine, working for a young company where you go to work, you feel invigorated, you feel excited, you're around a lot of great young talent that wants to be stars, and this group of talents, they work their ass off. In a dark match following SmackDown, John Cena would take on and defeat Dominik Mysterio. Here's the video. Explaining why some AEW stars were kept from facing Jade Cargill, Dave Meltzer noted on Wrestling Observer Radio, "I think she made a remark that she didn't get to work with enough of top people, and she got to work with most everyone. There were a couple that were injured. They did keep her away from some people because basically they wanted to always have her win, and they didn't want her to beat and mostly win squashes, and they didn't want her squashing certain people like that. They were really, and they hadn't gotten there yet. Perhaps in 2 years they should have." Ringside News added, Dave Meltzer also noted that he said during that time that Jade Cargill should be going for the AEW Women's title. Then the winning streak kept going, and the subject of who was going to beat Jade Cargill became a newsworthy subject. On SmackDown, WWE had a hype trailer shown for former AEW champion Jade Cargill, as she said this following the clip, writing, "A storm is coming." Jade Cargill's husband also helped her celebrate her signing with WWE. It appears that some top WWE stars will not be making the journey to Saudi Arabia for the Crown Jewel event later in the year, with the Wrestling Observer newsletter writing. A schedule note is that they are running SmackDown and house shows in the United States on the weekend of the Saudi Arabia show on November 4th, but not a SmackDown taping. It looks like they'll be doing 2 SmackDowns in Milwaukee, but that some top talent won't be going to Saudi Arabia, as in the past, they have not run house shows on the weekend of a Saudi show. When it comes to the recent release of Dolph Ziggler from WWE, Jim Ross said this about it on his Grilling JR podcast. I don't know that it's permanently going to be gone from WWE. I think once the dust settles and you start thinking about roles that he could fulfill, and there are many, not just wrestling, but I listened to somebody, maybe some Busted Open or something the other day, that they were talking about Dolph and he might be in line for a role much like Adam Pearce is on Raw, and if that's the case, he'll do a great job. Oh yeah, Ziggler's a star. And you don't just cast stars to the side. So I'm predicting that Ziggler will get back in the game with WWE in some role, but a different role than wrestling. So he's a great talker, he's got a great appearance, he looks good, a smart kid, he's always been very respectful to me. I remember when Terry Briscoe was recruiting him, he was a really good amateur. And that's kind of one of the things they were looking for, was strong amateurs who had good work ethic and all that good stuff. So he's a talent, and I don't think talents like him come along that often. Therefore, and knowing how smart Triple H is, they may find a role for Dolph that is just perfect for him at this point in time in his career. So a good guy, somebody who could help a lot of companies, no doubt about it. And I know he has other interests too. He enjoys doing his comedy shows and things of that nature. So I'm a big Dolph Ziggler fan, and I hope that he has nothing but success in his career. He deserves it. He's earned it, and I'm just excited to see where he's headed next. During an interview, AEW World Champion MJF confirmed that he has not signed a new deal with AEW, saying selfishly, it's coming to terms with a new deal. So you haven't signed an extension? Not yet, not yet. So you're telling our Wrestle Purist audience that in 2024, you'll still be entering a bidding war potentially with a capital P. Talking about the possibility of his AEW match at the upcoming pay-per-view being the main event of the show, Darby Allin said during the countdown to WrestleDream, I've waited to be in the main event of a show for so long. My whole entire life, I never felt good enough. There was always a voice in the back of my head saying, you shouldn't be here. You don't deserve any of this. But like I said, the only time I felt validated was when I was TNT champion. Then you get a guy like Christian Cage. He's got the one thing that made me feel like I meant something in this whole entire world. You haven't seen until you wrestled Darby in Seattle with Russell in the main event. Staying on the topic of Edge, the rated R superstar would end up trending on X, as many are speculating that he will be at WrestleDream. Fans wrote, if you have any bad words for Edge going to AEW, then you are way too far in your WWE fandom. Edge gave his absolute best to WWE, and they gave it right back to him. His career is second to none and deserves every ounce of your respect on his next move. Matt Hardy almost lost his career to a botch. Adam Cole broke his leg in 3 places, and Bryan Danielson broke his arm with main eventing. Adam Copeland has back problems, and these guys had those injuries going over the top with their moves. All I can say to Adam is be careful. You see it, the pre-sale code for WrestleDream says EDGR95. ED equals Edge, R equals rated R, 95 equals his old white zombie theme. Number 95 is said in the song. Could it be Adam Copeland in AEW this Sunday? So do we think Adam Copeland is using Metalingus? I mean, it is not a WWE owned song, so if Adam Copeland shows up at AEW WrestleDream, well, you'll probably hear a very loud pop. What should happen? Jack Perry returns with Cry Me a River as his new theme and takes out Darby. Christian hype but turns around a Luchasaurus chokeslam. Adam Copeland comes through the crowd and spears the F out of Luchasaurus, laying Christian over him for the pin, 2-time TNT champ. When you remember, Adam Copeland's dad wasn't around when he was a kid. When Edge debuts for AEW, his name should be Adam. All caps, no last name. Keep the specialness of the one-word name. Plays into him being bigger than life. Also very chantable. Adam Copeland might come off like every TNA debut, but Adam would hit. In some unfortunate news, a pro wrestling legend has passed away, as Ringside News said. The world of professional wrestling mourns the loss of a true pioneer as Betty Wade Murphy, better known by her ring name Joyce Gable, peacefully passed away at the age of 70. Her remarkable contributions to the sport and her enduring legacy have left an incredible mark in the wrestling community. Joyce Grable's illustrious wrestling career spanned 2 decades, from 1971 until her retirement in 1991. Throughout her journey, she primarily graced NWA territories, where she achieved remarkable success. Grable held titles that included the prestigious NWA World Women's Tag Team Championship on 6 occasions, partnering with wrestling luminaries such as Wendy Richter and Vicky Williams. Her championship accolades also extended to the NWA United States Women's Championship and the NWA Texas Women's Championship. In recognition of her outstanding career and contributions, Joyce Gable received well-deserved inductions into the NWA Hall of Fame, the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, and the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. While the wrestling world mourns the loss of a trailblazer and pioneer, it also celebrates the enduring legend of Joyce Gable. Her impact on women's wrestling and the sport as a whole will continue to inspire future generations of wrestlers and fans alike. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.